Thank you, God, for Judge Benitez. This man really is the patron saint of all gun owners, especially the gun owners in California. So as of today, we just got another amazing decision from Judge Benitez out in the Southern District of California. And Judge Benitez has issued an order, and the order is enjoining the application of the ammunition background check. So as many of you know, I'm sure a lot of you are aware, especially recently when you've tried to purchase ammunition, we have had to have gone through background checks whenever we are trying to purchase ammunition. And there was a case, Rhode v. Becerra, which was filed challenging the application of this background check to ammunition based on the fact that it is a burden on the Second Amendment, that it violates the Second Amendment and it violates our fundamental rights. As of today, we got a ruling from Judge Benitez. As many of you know, we call him Saint Benitez because he is the judge who actually issued the preliminary injunction in Duncan v. Becerra, which is now in the Ninth Circuit. But in Duncan v. Becerra, his favorable ruling led to the Freedom Week here in California, when we were all able to go out and purchase standard capacity magazines, large capacity magazines that prior we had not been able to do. So now here, Judge Benitez, our saint, has stepped up again and issued another preliminary injunction and ordered that the AG's office in Becerra actually put a stop to the application of background checks for ammunition. And also in this preliminary injunction, he has ordered that the AG's office and Javier Becerra and his goons cannot enforce the anti-importation law that is also applied. As many of you are aware, we are not able to import ammunition right now. What Judge Benitez says is, again, that this is a violation of the Second Amendment and that the AG's office cannot enforce it, and that he is going to preliminary enjoin that action of them enforcing and issuing penalties for the importation of ammunition. And he has also said that they cannot force that there are background checks on ammunition and that there cannot be penalties for individuals who do not go through background checks for ammunition. So the decision is actually 120 pages, so forgive me guys, it just hit today. I haven't gone through all of it. I will do a comprehensive video breaking down all the arguments and the major ramifications of some of the arguments that are played out in this case. I've just done a periphery scan, and really from what I've read so far, this is an amazing Second Amendment ruling by Judge Benitez. So I'm going to read to you real quick just the opening intro, and so you can see like how amazing this decision is. And if you want to read it for yourself, I'm going to put a link down the details to this decision. So he says, the experiment has been tried. The casualties have been counted. California's new ammunition background check law misfires, and the Second Amendment rights of California citizens have been gravely injured. In this action, plaintiff seeks a preliminary injunction enjoining California's erroneous and convoluted new laws requiring ammunition purchase background checks and implementing ammunition anti-importation laws. For the reasons that follow, the motion for preliminary injunction is granted. So here he is saying he is granting plaintiff's motion to preliminary enjoin the enforcement of the ammunition background checks and the preliminary injunction stopping the anti-importation language. The purported state interest to be achieved by these new laws is keeping ammunition out of the hands of prohibited Californians. These new laws are constitutionally defective for several reasons. First, criminals, tyrants, and terrorists do not do background checks. So he is using language that we say all the time, that criminals and these bad people that are allegedly trying to be targeted by these laws, they don't follow these laws. So here he is outright using these arguments that we say all the time, is that criminals do not abide by these laws. The background check experiment defies common sense while unduly and severely burdening the Second Amendment rights of every responsible gun-owning citizen desiring to lawfully buy ammunition. So again, he's saying here, criminals don't follow these laws. It doesn't affect criminal activity. It only affects law-abiding citizens. Second, the implementing regulations systematically prohibit or deter an untold number of law-abiding California citizen residents from undergoing the required background checks. So here he's saying this stupid law that was put into effect, these background checks for ammunition, are deterring a lot of individuals and actually preventing a lot of law-abiding individuals from exercising their Second Amendment right and being able to go out and buy ammunition. Third, in the 7 months since implementation, the standard background check rejected citizen residents who are not prohibited persons approximately 16.4% of time. So what he's saying here is law-abiding citizens are going through the process, through this program that the AG's office, that the DOJ has put in place. They're going through these background checks. And even though they are law-abiding citizens and they should be able to purchase ammunition, which is their God-given right under the Second Amendment, even these law-abiding citizens under this faulty system that they've built are being rejected ammunition. So even law-abiding citizens are unable to purchase ammunition through their current implementation because it's so faulty. Fourth, the ammunition anti-importation laws directly violate the federal Dormant Commerce Clause. So I'm going to have to go through this one in depth in another video, but what essentially he's saying is the anti-importation law, which is in effect right now, which prevents us from being able to import ammunition and buy through online. Right now, we can only do face-to-face purchases here in the state of California. What he's saying is that specific law violates the Dormant Commerce Clause. And so essentially what the Dormant Commerce Clause, and just in quick broad brush, is not going to be a very deep analysis, is that a state legislator's law cannot burden interstate or international commerce. And so here what he's saying is that this law, which prohibits the importation of ammunition into the state of California, burdens interstate commerce or burdens international commerce. And so that's going to be an interesting argument, and I can't wait when I have more time to really dig into this and give you guys what exactly he said, because this could have grave implications down the road for the Second Amendment, when he's specifically stating that a law like this is violating the Dormant Commerce Clause, because we've never really seen that applied very much, especially here in the state of California. And I just want to read a little bit more because it's just so good. Just the very intro of the background, it says, for the last 170 years, California citizens were able to purchase wanted or needed ammunition without background checks. They could order ammunition over the internet or from vendors outside the state. Today, the first state in the nation to do so, California extends the idea of firearm background checks to ammunition purchasers. In other words, every time a person wants to buy ammunition legally, a licensed ammunition dealer must first conduct a California Department of Justice background check in a face-to-face transaction. No doubt to prevent gun crime by preventing felons or other prohibited persons from acquiring ammunition is a laudable goal. But there is little evidence that the pre-purchase ammunition background check will accomplish the goal, and the burden it places on the constitutional rights of law-abiding firearms owners is profound. Furthermore, compared to the discouraging effect on criminals, the laws have a severely disproportionate effect on law-abiding citizen residents. As one commentator put it, in the end, the Safety for All Act will have a much more profound effect on law-abiding citizens than it will on criminals or the mentally ill. While an average California would not risk breaking the law to purchase illegal ammunition, criminals and mentally ill individuals planning mass shootings would be much more likely to do so. So again, here he's just saying this law does not do anything to stop criminals or people who are going to break the law regardless from getting their hands on ammunition. The only people that this affects are law-abiding citizens like me and you who are actually going to adhere to the law. And I would just want to jump to the conclusion because there's some more just amazing language that he adds in. He states, the court does not lightly enjoin a state statute, even on a preliminary basis. However, just as the court is mindful that a majority of California voters approved Proposition 63 and that the government has a legitimate interest in protecting the public from gun violence, it is equally mindful that the Constitution remains a shield from the tyranny of the majority. As Senator Kennedy said, the judiciary is and is often the only protector of individual rights that are at the heart of our democracy. Law-abiding citizens are imbued with the unalienable right to keep and bear firearms, along with the ammunition to make the firearm work. That a majority today may wish it were otherwise does not change the constitutional right. It never has. California has tried its unprecedented experiment. The casualties suffered by the law-abiding citizens have been counted. Presently, California and many other states sit in isolation under pandemic-inspired stay-at-home orders. Schools, parks, beaches, and countless non-essential businesses are closed. Courts are limping by while police make arrests for only the more serious crimes. Maintaining Second Amendment rights are especially important in times like this. Keeping vigilant is necessary in both bad times and good. For if we let these rights lapse in good times, they may never be recovered in times to resist the next appearance of criminals, terrorists, or tyrants. Accordingly, the court enjoins the state of California from enforcing the ammunition sales background check provisions and the ammunition anti-importation provisions. Criminal enforcement of the California Penal Code is preliminarily enjoined by the Attorney General and all other law enforcement defendants during the pendency of this action. So I'll look at real quick what exactly his order said. So essentially, he says that the defendant, the Attorney General's office, Javier Becerra, his officers, agents, servants, employees, all those goons, and any law enforcement officer or anyone who becomes aware of this order is preliminary enjoined from enforcing the background check. The penalty requirement for the background check is banned from enforcing the anti-importation language, and is specifically also banned from doing the penalty for the anti-importation language. And then he also orders that the AG's office and Javier Becerra's office give actual notice of this order and to all the law enforcement personnel who are responsible for implementing and enforcing it. So essentially, he has to give notice of this order that Judge Benitez has issued to all these law enforcement agencies, which is similar to what we saw him order in the Duncan v. Becerra case, when he ordered that they send this notice to all the law enforcement officers that they cannot enforce the penalty for individuals who are in possession of the standard capacity magazines that they got during Freedom Week. And he also orders that within 10 days, the government is ordered to file a declaration establishing that they have provided such notice to the law enforcement agencies. So he's actually saying here, like, this is my order, you have to do it. And then within 10 days, I want proof that you actually gave notice to all these law enforcement agencies and officers that they can no longer issue a penalty or try to penalize individuals who are importing ammunition or who are purchasing ammunition without a background check. So in summary, that's what Judge Benitez is saying. I'll do a comprehensive breakdown later, but this is just an amazing decision. And really, this guy is our saint. I mean, this judge is amazing. I mean, the way he writes about the Second Amendment, it gives me goosebumps. This guy, I mean, I just can't praise him enough. I think it's very good going forward with the type of language that we've seen him write in this and in the prior Duncan decision. I think it can be very beneficial for us going forward. So stay tuned to the channel. I'll do a more comprehensive breakdown, but that is just generally where we're at right now. It's amazing. If there's any more movement, if something happens with the stay or something like that, I'll keep you guys updated. So if you found this video helpful, or you find my videos helpful in general and you would like to support the channel, the best way to do that is to join the Patreon, and I'll put a link down to my Patreon page down in the details. Another way you can support the channel is using the various affiliate links also found in the details. So as always, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and never forget, a nation that draws a great distinction between its scholars and its warriors will have its laws written by cowards and its wars fought by fools.